A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
The U.S. President Donald Trump, in a press conference after the U.S. hit 3 Iranian nuclear sites in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, 6 B-2 Spirit bombers dropped 12 B-57 bunker busters at these nuclear sites. After they hit these sites, U.S. cruise attack ships fired 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles at the sites. So since there are 3 nuclear sites, they might have fired 10 cruise missiles at each of them, and the B-2 Spirit bombers might have delivered 4 B-57 bunker busters at each of the sites. Or it might be more at Fordow because it's the deepest of them all, estimated to be about 300 feet deep inside a rocky mountain. And the B-57 bunker busters can penetrate about 200 feet before detonation. So like the Iranian news journalist said in this video at Fordow nuclear site, he expressed doubt if the US actually hit anything because maybe he was expecting to see massive fires. Anyway, the US is claiming the mission was successful and Iran remains defiant, saying they will continue their nuclear research and enrichment. Before Israel hit Iran, it was reported that Iranians were enriching uranium up to 60%. Another report also claimed they were enriching up to 83%. Going this high means they are aiming to make a bomb, despite all their denials. So for those who are genuinely curious, they want to know why the West is concerned about Iran possessing nuclear weapons. It's their right, like every other nation. Also, 9 nuclear powers already exist. They have a right to join them. But the reason the West is concerned and have finally taken action now is because the Iranian leadership is made up of dictators at many levels. They oppress and kill their own citizens for misdemeanors. Something like a lady not covering her hair can be very deadly if the lady puts up any resistance while being arrested. They always threaten to wipe Israel off the map, and considering they always make do with their threats, it's only reasonable to take these threats seriously. We are talking about weapons of mass destruction here. A small nuclear bomb can take out a small city. Unlike ballistic missiles, you will need hundreds or even thousands to achieve the same thing. That's why many in the West and the Middle East are not too bothered about the Iranian ballistic missiles. Not because they are not deadly, but they are not on the same level with nuclear bombs. Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons proves that. Otherwise, they wouldn't need nuclear weapons since they already have ballistic missiles. And before the US hit 3 nuclear sites, Iran rejected the Trump administration's proposal to stop nuclear enrichment to 0. That's stopping it entirely. All the agreements they've had in the past set it at a particular level, not the dangerous levels they achieved before Israel hit. But Iran refused outrightly. They remained arrogantly defiant and recalcitrant despite coming to that negotiation with absolutely zero leverage or cards. Before that Friday meeting in Geneva, Switzerland, the Iranian airspace was already under the control of Israel. Israeli fighter jets could fly into Iran anyhow they wanted, even up till this moment. Iranians don't control their airspace, meaning they can't stop an air raid. They can't stop any attack on their country or the nuclear sites. Despite all this, they were still obstinate at the negotiating table.
The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. It is an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression.
So when people say most of their leaders are not rational actors, this is what they mean. They don't live in the real world. They brag and boast about their capabilities, but Israel took over their airspace from the very first day they hit them. That's very humiliating, happening to people who always posture to create a powerful image of themselves. People who don't live in the real world and lie to themselves can do unimaginable things to actualize their delusions. Yes, such people are very dangerous. That's why they arm their proxies with dangerous weapons. So imagine what they can do if they ever possess nuclear weapons. The world will be living on the edge, under constant threats. They might never fire them, but you can never be too sure about anything once irrational actors are involved. They might do anything to just prove a point. This is the first wave of retaliation by Iran after the US hit their nuclear sites. This is Tel Aviv in Israel. The Iranian ballistic missile actually hit an entire block. This can be very devastating, and Israel is already returning the favor, considering the fact that thousands of US troops are stationed in several countries across the Middle East, from Turkey to Syria, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Oman, even Jordan. The ones that face the most risk are these countries that are in close proximity to Iran: Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, and Oman. Iran may target the US troops in these countries as a form of retaliation. Iran's weapons might be degraded, but they are still very dangerous. They are still seriously armed. They can inflict serious harm on any country, like they are doing to Israel right now. And Israel's strategy to prevent serious harm is to go after the missile launchers. Once Iran fires them, they always hit them in retaliation, and since it's estimated they still have about 2,000 ballistic missiles, this back and forth between Israel and Iran might continue for a very long time, until when the Iranians run out of launchers or maybe run out of missiles, whichever comes first. Israel also said Iran can build 300 missiles per month, so they might never run out of the missiles. Ultimately, Israel might pursue the regime change option. Before now, preventing Iran from having nuclear weapons was the major concern and priority. Now these sites have been taken out. That's a setback of up to 10 years or even more. The Fordo nuclear facility alone took about 5 years to construct, and it cost them $1.7 billion. So it seems the fastest way to end the war between Israel and Iran is for the Israelis to pursue a regime change in Iran. The US will never put boots on the ground in Iran. Even Israel might never put boots on the ground in Iran. That's to fight physical combat. They already have their foreign intelligence agency, the Mossad operatives inside Iran, but they might never go beyond that. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu already called on Iranians to rise up against the regime in one of his broadcasts. Regime changes can be very, very unpredictable. If it goes south, then Iran might become another Libya or Iraq, which will lead to a serious arms proliferation. The effect of what happened in Libya is still being felt in West Africa and the Sahel. So a regime change in Iran might lead to a more dangerous world, where their proxies and other insurgents and terrorists would terrorize the world with dangerous weapons. Maybe they will try targeted assassinations of regime leaders like they are already doing, but even at that, it will take a very long time before a liberal can become the supreme leader in Iran or the IRGC commander. The very foundation of the regime was built by hardliners. Now let's hear the Israeli Prime Minister expressing his appreciation to the US President Donald Trump for striking the Iranian nuclear sites.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.